Welcome to episode 620 of The Breakdown, sponsored by Gemini. That's right, sponsored by Gemini. I am doing the voiceover. That's right, it's me, David Gochstein, doing the voiceover for Gemini's commercial. Get your Bitcoin credit card issued by WebBank. That's right, issued by WebBank. You can go on to gemini.com/David G and check out the lineup of credit cards that Gemini has to offer. 4% back, not in points, but in Bitcoin. Hey, sign up to the XRP credit card, 4% back in XRP, or get yourself a Solana credit card and get yourself back 4% in Solana on your purchases. Terms apply. Gemini.com/David G. That's right, Gemini.com/David G. Earn Bitcoin, not points. I'm the greatest of all time. Welcome to The Breakdown, episode 620, where I can see that my monitor is already malfunctioning, so we'll see if I can get through the day, all right? Where I can actually see my guests when they come on, and we have 2 people coming on, maybe 3, I don't know. We got a busy lineup this week as well. That's right. Got a busy lineup this week. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Seems like nobody did because it looks like everybody was glued to the screens watching their assets go to zero. Let's fucking go. We're built different. We're built different. That's right. We're built different. Episode 620. Can't believe we're at 620. Sponsored by Gemini. Click the link. Trade $1,000 in crypto. Get $100 in Bitcoin. A lot of you guys definitely need something in your life, and there you go. Trade $1,000 in crypto. Get $100 in Bitcoin. Sponsored by Gemini again, and this show is produced by Gochstein Media. That's right. They produce me. I produce myself. I am him. I am him. That's right. That's right. All right. What can we say about the markets? What can we say that hasn't been said about the markets? They look like dog shit. The market looks like absolute dog shit. But at the end of the day, this is showing me who actually has conviction and who doesn't. I'm going to say that again. All you rats that run around here talking about I have conviction, I love this, this is me, I am one with the meme and shit like that. Like now we get to see who really has those diamond hands, who really believes in their assets. And by the way, I got to say, I had to part ways with 2 or 3 assets yesterday. Absolutely. I told you on this program, it's going to be very different. You know, I'm good with my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, all that. I'm talking about the altcoins and memes. If I feel like there is nothing happening, even if I'm at a loss, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not waiting till zero. I don't give a fuck about the participation awards, okay? I don't care for that. I don't want a participation medal. You can keep your participation medals to yourself. Okay? I don't give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about your participation awards. Okay? That's it. At some point, you gotta cut the cord. You gotta cut the umbilical cord and say goodbye. Bye, it was nice knowing you, but you ain't doing shit for me. That's right. That's right. You know why? Because these motherfuckers can root for you. They could tell you, oh my God, Jesus, this is great. You're holding on, you're diamond handing while they're diamond handing on your goddamn forehead. And you know what I mean by that? They're dropping their balls on your goddamn forehead, okay? And imprinting them shits there. You're lucky they don't tattoo them on there. But seriously, man, you got to look at your portfolio right now and say, like, what am I in? Is this shit gonna work out? Should I swap to something that has a better potential of moving than the shit that I'm stuck in now? These are the moves that you got to make. If you guys tuned in Friday, Murad was here. We had a conversation. And honestly, I kind of agree with a lot of the things he said because I got the same mindset. Like, we don't need to be in 650 fucking memes. We don't, because do you believe in all 650 memes? There aren't 650 memes to begin with. 90% of those things are just zombie tickers. The rest are legitimate. So concentrating on just a select few, 15 to 20, and let's say in my case, that's all I need to be focused on. I don't know why I need to be in 650 fucking tokens. So I went ahead and made sure that, hey, I'm going to look at this, especially today. If this shit ain't working out, we're gonna go ahead and call ourselves separated. We're gonna get a divorce because I am not, absolutely not going to be exit liquidity this cycle. Okay. Now I firmly believe that the cycle hasn't started. And I know a lot of people will say that I'm fucking crazy for saying that, but you know what? I had the opportunity to sit back comfortable in my goddamn office and look over things, and I'm like, yo, like honestly, we have not yet started. And you know what? As crazy as that sounds, I believe it to be the truth. That's it. I believe it to be the truth. I think we probably end if an official end comes a year and a half from now. And I don't, and hey, some people might say he has absolutely no clue what the fuck he's talking about. The same people who told me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when you guys were talking about 16 months ago that the cycle was finished. That's right. I was in a room on an X space. For those who don't know what an X space is, it is it's voice chat on X, formerly known as Twitter. I was on a space. I was privileged enough to be on a space, and I said, "Guys, we're just getting started." And these people were saying, "Nope, time to sell everything. We're done. We're done." Zoom out. I mean, the best feature you can do, best thing you could do is zoom out. Seriously, zoom out, and everything starts to look better. When you start to zoom out, things start looking better. You start seeing the whole picture. Okay. All right. You start seeing the whole picture. I would be scared though. Like a lot of you guys get into dog shit. So, as I always mention this on every single program, a lot of you guys get into absolute dog shit. Right off the launch pad, dog shit, and you're stuck holding and you're praying. That your prayers are not going to be answered. Like I promise you, those prayers are not going. Jesus ain't gonna help you. You praying to Jesus or whoever else you pray to, it will not help you. Jesus ain't rooting for your bags. I'm gonna break the news to you. Jesus ain't rooting for you. Okay? Jesus don't got a position in any of the shit coins that you're holding. He has no position. You think because you pray to Jesus that he's gonna help you out versus everybody else? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? All of a sudden, everybody believes in God. By the way, all of a sudden, what I've noticed on the timeline, everybody believes in God. Everybody's now a believer in God. Everybody has been, we got born again Christians now on the timeline. That's right, on the timeline. Man, you guys, honestly, you did this to yourselves. You don't listen to real value within this space. And I know it's hard to find, but there are real valuable people here. I hate using the word content creators, but I believe media personalities are out here creating content for you that you can look at, you can sit back, use what they give you in terms of value, research it. Everybody's laughing in the chats, but all I'm saying is the truth. You guys are praying to Jesus. Jesus don't hold your bags. That's it. Anyway, thank you for tuning in once again from all the social media channels. We're still trying to fix Instagram and Facebook, so bear with us. The boomers are dying to come on here and talk about gold and silver, okay, and copper. All right, dying to get on the program and talk about precious metals. But right now, we're gonna bring in a favorite of mine now because he's hyped up. I don't know if he drink. I doubt he even drinks Red Bull. I think he gets out of bed, is running around the house bullish. I like that. I like that. I'd rather be bullish and lose than be bearish. I'm sorry. I don't know. This is my personality. But let's go ahead and welcome him in. Kelly, what's going on, brother?
Well, I came prepared with the bag for the dog shit that's out there in the market. Everybody's still holding on to. But you know what? I think you're speaking a lot of truth here. I think there's reasons to be overwhelmingly bullish in this market. While at the same time, it doesn't mean you got to be a blind bull. I did a post about that this weekend where I'm looking at things and I see an incredible bullish opportunity that's set up and that is going to just absolutely burn down a lot of bears in the space. And I think a lot of people are going to be eaten alive by it. And part of that fact is I'm super bullish, but that doesn't mean that I don't see opportunity here for the bears to take a little bit of a swing to the downside. And in fact, we're seeing it, even a little bit more today. But I'm going to highlight a couple things if you're okay with it. I got some things to break down on the charts to really outline why I'm bullish, especially what areas I'm looking at in terms of the near-term bearish perspective, and why I think those also further catalyze the baby bulls and the bubble bath, baby.
My bad. As usual, I knew this would happen. Technical difficulties. I don't see you, but we're gonna rock on because I'm a professional. You want me to bring in your TA here?
Yeah, I can. I have a couple things I just wanted to highlight about what's going on. You could make me full screen and I can do the screen switching since you can't see, or you could pull up the screen share. Either way. Yeah, there we go. All right. So
I'm a professional, man.
What I want to highlight here is a couple things. There's a bunch of things on this chart, but primarily what I want to look at is right here. Germany dumps Bitcoin, and what did that precede? Right here into this Japanese yen carry trade fiasco. The reason why this is important, this Japanese yen carry trade fiasco, is because this massive sell-off from the Germany dumping their Bitcoin and this unwinding of the carry trade is kind of persisting right now. Is starting to unwind again, and part of that has to do with this big amount of money that they're kind of bringing in for stimulus. That's kind of unwinding that again, which is likely why we may not get a Fed rate cut on December 10th. It just kind of ticked up over the last few days, where it's actually on poly market more likely that we're going to get a pause. Now, does that mean Bitcoin's bull run is over? Well, you know what? I'd argue to say, why the hell, if you're in Bitcoin, are you so concerned with what the Fed is doing about interest rates for the dollar? Now, it will give you some sort of framework for midterm understanding about where the speculation should go. But in reality, I think it's all a crock. I think everything that's going on right now in this market is right now would be the worst time to sell. Why? Because we're at the highest point of fear that we've seen in this entire bull run. So even if you're a bear, this is a stupid spot to sell. Why is that? Because look back here. Yes, this sucked. It ended up in a bear market, but you had a massive bounce from $34,000 all the way up to $47,000 after that peak fear. We're in that peak fear right now. Now, with that being said, we're also at sort of a monumental level of short-term holders. Coins that have been out there that have been trading, short-term holder, weekend tourists, but also, all these coins that have been held less than 155 days. But what this chart is showing is that we're at a higher level of short-term holders being basically holding in a loss than we were at the bottom of the 2018 bear market, and also at the bottom of the FTX collapse here, and also this intermediary point. This is the worst sort of position we've been in. Now, is this bullish or bearish? To me, this is a near-term setup for probably at least at minimum a bit of a bounce. Now, what I see right now is this. This is what people are forgetting. This $100,000 level that people are so worried about, or is the bear market over? Is the bull market, did it ever even happen? Well, I mean, let's just zoom out on all of our expectations, man. Does it need to be a 4-year cycle? Does it need to be? All these things are sort of, we're analyzing these things and we're projecting them onto the market. In reality, if we just look at this snapshot, Bitcoin's been basically oscillating around this $100,000 region for 360 days. So 5 days short of a year, Bitcoin has been deviating above, big deviation below, deviation above, right back. We're literally sitting at the equilibrium, roughly the same price we were a year ago. And people are losing their minds. And this is all at the same time with, oh, yeah, do we have some bearishness? Sure. We haven't filled this CME gap yet, but we are, look at this. We are just we're tap dancing right on top of it. We're still well above areas that I would consider everything's falling apart. And this is all at the same time. Remember, this is all at the same time that we've got all of this stuff coming up into next year. So everything that's happening right now with bearish price action, and we know that Japan is preparing a $110 billion stimulus. China's already approved a stimulus. The Fed is ending QT. We have the U.S. issuing about $1.9 trillion in treasuries per year. Canada restarting quantitative easing. All of these things are positive liquidity structures, which have always provided incredible bullish context to price action to follow. So where we're at right now, with the shaking off the cobwebs of everything going on in the market, because the 4-year cycle has to be true, I think it's the biggest trap in history. We're sitting here at the worst fear. We have all the indications of a better liquidity environment coming into next year. So while I'm bullish, I will say this. That does not count out that we can't have a major washout, even down into 88, 85, 82. But for me, this is kind of a no-sell zone for 2 reasons. One, we have the massive liquidity already being telegraphed and being published that these things are coming in forms of stimulus and quantitative easing and money printing, all of these things. In addition to the fact that we just had the government reopen, but it's only on a sort of temporary basis until January 30th. And then we have to kind of go through this whole thing again. Do we go and do a government shutdown again? Do we not? I think that's why some things it kind of feels risk on, it feels risk off. It feels like the bear market's starting. But again, the circumstances surrounding this is telling me that if I had to guess that we're closer to the middle of like the structure that we saw in 2017 than we are to this being a top. That's my perspective. But then again, I can also endure another 2 years if the market does completely melt down. But I really, and all the people I speak to, top level people, it's not just a YouTuber around the corner, like top level in traditional markets and in crypto and in the development of the ecosystem and market makers, all this. There's such a fervent divergence of their context of what they're feeling and seeing in the market versus the absolute bloodshed of the crypto content creators on YouTube.
Why do you think, how like every cycle comes to an end, Kelly,
Yep.
where we're trying to look for positive sentiment to say like,
Right.
no, every cycle it's like, it was like, hey, like, no, look, it's bouncing, we're bouncing, but there's always like, if you like every ending to every cycle, there's always been some major fucking news that comes in and just like you can see it. It's not there's anything that you can't force the market to go up when you're getting news that it is definitely going to go down and people are pulling out. FTX happens, right? All the dominoes start, falling apart. But people are like, no, we're still going to make it out. We're still going to be good.
Well,
FTX was going to buy FTX and they're going to solve the issue.
Well, FTX was the culmination at the
Correct.
end. There was something that started at the beginning because of FTX, but that unwound everything with Celsius, and then that cascaded everything. But then FTX, the collapse at the very end of that bear market, this was the FTX collapse was here, right? Not up here.
Yeah.
This is where the issue with Luna happened that then unwound Celsius and Voyager and BlockFi, and then ultimately, boom, FTX. Now, in the case where we're at right now, I'll make 2 contentions here. That's why I have a red arrow and a green arrow.
All I wanted to say, Kelly, is that this, like, all we have is positive news coming out. We don't have any negative news.
Right.
All we have is like, we're getting liquidity. Hey guys, liquidity's coming in. Kate Wood is out there, ARK, saying, hey, we're getting liquidity. We haven't even put liquidity into the markets yet. Like, everybody who's been successful in this game is saying, we haven't started yet. Like, we just tipped our toes. Like, we haven't gone full ape shit into the market. So like, my bad. I didn't mean to go ahead and cut you off, but that's really what I want to say is like, this time around, you don't have like any bearish news unless you want to call a government shutdown bearish.
Well, I mean, I think the government shutdown is more bearish than people realize, and the fact that it constitutes 24% of the federal
Right.
spending of the GDP in the U.S. So
Yeah.
people didn't really attribute that initially to crypto, but liquidity is liquidity, and if you have a
Yeah.
24% hole in your economy, that ends up sort of matriculating and spreading out into all aspects, especially risk markets. The other thing that Bitcoin has going for it and against it comparatively with like the S&P 500, which also has had some very interesting price action lately, massive melt. I mean, this is not a small move. Sorry. This is not a small
Huge.
move from all the way down here when we crashed on all the tariffs and we made a 45% move in under a year on the S&P. This is massive. So we're seeing a little bit of weakness here, but the difference with Bitcoin is Bitcoin feels like it got left behind because it's had this 100 or 360-day sideways range, but we forget the importance of this psychological level, $100,000. And because people follow on-chain data and they see stuff like, oh my God, okay, we're starting to see just different distributions, and we're seeing, everybody's confusing themselves with all the data because the context of this market taking a different shape in terms of the landscape, legislation, government bodies behind it, banks integrating with all this. And people look at this and go, well, how come Bitcoin's not running yet? And then they see on-chain data where whales are selling. David, whales are selling. That means it's over. But at the same time, at the same time, you also see, look at this massive spike over here on the bottom right, massive spike where you see the indices with more than 1,000 Bitcoin. This is popping right here, much like it did before this run, much like it did before at the bottom here before this run. So we're getting a variety of data where you are seeing a lot of whale selling, OGs, but you're also seeing this counterpoint with institutions coming in en masse like extraordinary scale. Harvard just updated their holdings by 237%. We've seen a massive uptick in terms of multiples of institutional stacking that's going on. And so people are looking as, sort of non-nuanced traders. They're saying, but OGs are selling this as the top, but all these massive players are also buying, which is why you're seeing not only the context of the tariff sell-off and then, the run-up, this is because of the washout from liquidity. We're also seeing the rotation of the maturity of the market from a lot of the very early adopters, early purchasers from 2011, 12, 13 that are taking enormous profits, but they're also rotating those those holdings into other large, I would argue, more anchored players into the future. These institutional institutional coffers that are just stacking up. And then you have last week Michael Saylor selling, so it fears everybody gets scared. And then he comes out today. He bought it nearly $1 billion in Bitcoin over the last week, and it's like people are just confused and fearful. I do think it's probably going to take in through the end of the year before we get, if we're going to get that that next bullish leg. I think it's going to take a lot of work in this danger zone here. And I do caution people, even though I'm a bull for new highs in 2026, it doesn't mean we can't get a little bit of a washout down. I would caution people, if the price action, I don't know what happened there. Sorry. If the price action does push up into this zone, we need to be a little cautious because this could come up here, rejected, and get really persist into a bear market. So this zone right in here between 100 and 109 is going to be very telling about probably what the next quarter is going to look like.
What happens to everybody that misplayed? Well, I don't know if they misplayed because I still think like we have a long way to go. But what happens to right now? Everybody, we talk about Bitcoin, and I don't know why anybody would even be nervous about Bitcoin in general. I just don't know. It can go to 80, great. Like there's not. I mean, it will rebound. It will hit into the twos, threes, whether it's 3 months from now or a year and a half from now. It is what it is. The people in the altcoin market and the people in memes, they're nervous. They're literally nervous, worried about like, hey, is this going to Is this really going to rebound? And I'm talking about, so I'll say the real memes, not the shitters. Like, I'm not talking about the ones that just came off. I call them zombie tickers. I'm not talking about the zombie tickers that don't last for more than 13 minutes. I'm talking about like things that have been here that have lore, history, and stuff like that. People have been holding. What, what, is there any sort of bright spot to go ahead and talk about for the old coins and the meme economy in general?
Yeah, I would say this. Let me.
And let me say this. I had Marad on the show Friday. He said, this is what he said. 3 weeks, we will be back in a bull run. I'm just putting that
Uh,
out there.
well, I
For
don't know.
3
Well,
weeks.
it's hard to say with memes, but I think I shared this with you last time. But this others chart still confounds me. This early 2019 run where we had the run up, the sell off into this kind of made this basically symmetrical triangle, had a deviation up, a washout down, then launch. We seriously, it blows my mind that we've taken essentially the same shape here, and the October 10th washout essentially filled this box that I've had drawn on here for 4 or 5 months. I didn't think it was going to get filled. Then we got the October 10th, boom, flushed right into it. But you see such a similar shape here. The difference being this has been more extended. There's been a lot more on the docket with the crypto ecosystem and how it's getting integrated or not going to get integrated, or at what scale and timeline. All this legislation, the Clarity Act, a market structure bill, all, everything that's going on with all this. So there's excitement. Nothing really happens. There's excitement. Nothing really happens. Okay, let's wash out all the tourists. And then the question, again, everybody has to make their determination. Do you think it's going to do that? Do you think it's going to do, something a little bit more muted? Do you think it's going to, if I had to guess, it's going to probably do something in between these zones. I still think we're going to get that run up. It might be later in, I would say, maybe Q2, maybe into Q3 of next year. It's hard to say right now because we have this looming another government shutdown sort of debacle that may happen in a matter of about a month and a half. So there's a lot of.
What if we don't have the government shutdown? What? Let's
you
say
mean like they come to a resolution before that?
Agree to fucking all wear the Penn's diapers and drinking shore during business hours. What happens then?
If they resolve this before January 30th and get a continuing resolution before, then I think this happens sooner. I think this happens like I would still think. I mean, even with this sideways action here, this would still be all the way. I'm looking at the dates at the bottom. That would still be into about February or March, and then when the price action starts moving with real risk on. These things happen very quickly. And, when we're considering what's going on, for instance, like with the total two, let's pull that up. I just want to highlight something. This is why the bull market never really felt like it happened. Everything excluding Bitcoin, this is only pushed up and tested, not even really breaking through, no price discovery. It's tested the all-time high almost once and then kind of the second time and just fallen down. But I still think there's a lot more in store. And people here's the deal. For the Bitcoin maxes out there, Bitcoin's the only asset. You have to understand Bitcoin's the only asset for what it does in reality. However, there's also the whole smart contract economy. There's the stable coins. If all these banks and payment rails are going to be really integrating and rolling into stable coins, and the consideration of what's happening with Tether and other stable coins that are going to be backed by U.S. treasuries, and that's going to become a major staple for the U.S. government and the U.S. economy. So that's not going anywhere. That's only going to get expanded upon. And those are going to be running on layer one blockchains like Ethereum, like Linea, like Chainlink integrating these things, like Solana, with the internet capital markets and what they're doing with RWAs, in addition to every other aspect of the economy. I think the expectation this market was going to play out with the same roadmap on the same time scale that it has in previous has broken people's spirits because it's taken a little bit longer. It's almost like people have to have more of an investor mindset and realize the market can remain irrational longer than most people can remain solvent. It has not been a magic bullet this cycle. However, I think the magic bullet of this cycle will be patience. And like you said before I came on here, having the courage to get the hell out of an asset if you don't really understand it, if you don't really have passion around it, or if you don't have the courage to hold it be willing to lose everything on that asset, which I hope nobody does with assets in their portfolio beyond 10% of their portfolio. You should not be, if you're not wealthy like Gary Cardone and Grant Cardone and Michael Saylor and some of these major players, you shouldn't be having 15, 30, 50, 70% of your portfolio and assets that may or may not make it. You're literally acting as a VC, and you can't even pay rent next month because you have all your assets in Pepe and dog shit coin number 7. That it's just you're not going to make it across the bubble that you think you are, because in that scenario you're just trying to buy lottery tickets.
You mentioned Pepe, and I'm gonna get back to that. What is Ethereum doing? Like, is this all because of proof of stake that it's acting this way? That's the only, like, I don't know what the fuck Ethereum is doing. A lot of people are saying that it's overvalued. What are your thoughts? Like, it should, like, its value of what is, I don't even know what it's at right now, at 3,000. People are
Yeah,
saying it's even overvalued at that number. It should be less than that, maybe half of that.
I don't think it's overvalued. I do think that their evolution from proof of work to proof of stake definitely changes some things for people that are looking at this and sort of the legacy of the asset. Because technically speaking, when they switched from proof of work to proof of stake, it does sort of truncate what their actually legacy is, because now it's a whole different model. Now, the fact that they have the majority of the stable coins out there are via Ethereum, I do think the Ethereum rails, I should say. I do think that this is still going to have some pretty major upward wins, especially when you can consider things like Tom Lee and what they're doing with the massive Bitmain or whatever they're doing with the Ethereum treasury. Again, this is just an analog for what's also happening in the risk markets. I don't think this is overvalued. I think it's probably right in the territory it kind of should be right now. But I'm also not one to say that. I think some people think Ethereum's day in the sun is gone because you have other shiny new things that are faster and they have better TPS and more throughput. I don't think major players out there are looking at those metrics. I think they're looking at legacy, security, and consumer base that actually is like readily, the adoption has already happened to some regard, and they have a good liquidity base that they can do things with. And so I think right now the name of the game with Ethereum is a little bit of patience, to allow what's going to happen with Bitcoin to actually show that the bulls are coming back in. Right now, everybody is still battling with this idea that the 4-year cycle means that we're going into a 1-year bear market.
I said that bare minimum, Ethereum should hit $10,000 per token, per coin. Excuse me. Was I way off? I like having. Listen, this is listen. I own my shit. Okay, I will never delete shit. Looking through the shit that I searched through, I was like, yo, at bare minimum, it should hit 10,000 at minimum.
I mean,
I don't know.
yeah.
Lately, I've been sitting back. I'm like, obviously the market's red all over the place. I get it. You can get emotional. I try to keep emotions out of the goddamn picture. But is Ethereum going? What's Ethereum going to do? Is it even going to touch 6 or 7 at this point? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. Ethereum itself, because it's major. If Ethereum moves, to me, if Ethereum moves, then the altcoin market moves.
100%.
That's it. If anybody who hates Ethereum just doesn't understand, the money's there. Like, there is so much money on Ethereum that, to me, I sit back and I'm like, that's why I said the 10,000 thing, right? I said bare minimum 10,000 because you got Tom Lee out there. He wants 5%. Who knows who else is trying to go ahead and pull this kind of shit off? I'm like, man, there's going to be so much money on it. Ethereum moves, and man, you will have your altcoin season, the one that we've all been waiting for. But
well, I mean, to put it into perspective, if you look at the ETH to Bitcoin chart, this has been in a downtrend all the way since back here in September of 2022. Even with the run up we had recently on the bottom here in April earlier this year, this run up only constituted a move up into essentially right to the downtrend line from this entire downtrend that we've been in. So even with this short-term sort of run up, we haven't even broken free to give any confidence to the rest of the altcoin market, because this is, just maintaining this bearish structure. Now within that, we do, broadening wedge, blah, blah, blah. Everything's waiting on Bitcoin right now. Everything's waiting on Bitcoin, and to have some of this liquidity actually pumped in the market that can then matriculate into the broader crypto ecosystem. Now, can it hit 10,000? Yeah, I think it can hit anywhere from 7,300 to 12,000, somewhere in this range. But right now, it's hard to make a price prediction this cycle because everybody has a different idea about what this cycle means. Some people think that this cycle has ended. I think that we're going to see at least 2 or 3 consecutive highs later in 2026, starting around Q2 and then beyond. If that's the case, and we do have that sort of bullish uptick, then I'm in agreement with you. I think we're going to, I would say at minimum about 7,300, but somewhere between 7,300 and 10,000 would probably be a comfortable spot for me to see this move. And that's not a small move, everybody. That's, even from here up to 8,500, that's God, I guess it is small. Golly, 187%. I can only double my money by the end of 2026. I think we need to be just a little bit more patient with ourselves, realize the world just opened its doors to even understanding what this asset class is. We're seeing banks race to figure out how to integrate and work into stablecoins and other forms of Web3. I think there's a lot on the table. And right now we're just shaking off the cobwebs of fear that constitutes OGs rotating into new institutional players, governments getting regulations in order to actually truly support and empower this ecosystem rather than putting their foot on the throats. And then 3, this idea of shaking off this absolute regimented 4-year cycle that everybody is so fixated on. Again, I think we're going to have to wait until Q1, maybe the beginning of Q2 before we really start to see like the overwhelming price action everybody's hoping for. I do think we're going to get a run up by the end of this year. The question is going to be, do we get rejected, below 118, like 107, or do we actually blast through? Right now, it's a little bit of a risk matrix. You got to do what's right for your own portfolio. But again, I'm confident for my bags and what I'm doing that I think that we're going to see some bullishness in 2026.
Welcome to the breakdown, episode 620, sponsored by Gemini. Trade $1,000 in crypto, get $100 on Bitcoin if you sign up to Gemini. Terms apply, of course. Gongshi Media produces the show. Got Kelly on here from Discover Crypto, Bitlab. All right. Are we here? 2 things, because I wanted to ask you about Pepe. You think Pepe's dead or Pepe's going to make a move? And then I'll ask the last question.
I don't track Pepe at all, but this is one of those assets that's got an incredible community around it and a lot of big money players. This is ugly as it can be. This pattern right here is so ugly. Giant, basically head and shoulders. It kind of washed out a bit down, came back up. This is at October 10th. I wouldn't be surprised to see this tick a bit lower before making any resolution to the upside. It's lost the golden pocket, lost the 786. I mean, there's nothing really here that gives me like any sort of near-term bullishness. If you take that measured move, that's suggesting it's coming all the way back down in here. But is there anything else? Okay, RSI is near reset. This is on the 3-day. Money flow is still super negative. Anything in the near term? Let's get into the 8-hour. Come on, computer. There we go. In the near term, yeah, money flow is negative. RSI is kind of a little bit of a bottoming structure, but it did that here too and only fell further. Again, this is going to be following the moves of the risk, and feels like they're aggressively de-risking right now. So I'd be a little cautious here until Pepe got above however many O's 752, about basically this range that is this previous range lows and all of this previous range. Yeah. So I'd want to see the price action get above here, find some support, and then move. You don't need to catch the bottom. Wait for a confirmation, damn it. If it's been so bearish, just melting down, wait for it to break a key zone, for it to pull back. You want to see that, and you want to see the bulls come in, boom, and then you get in with a little bit more confidence and stop throwing your money at another rich man's boat.
There we go. At last one. Do you think we're a year too early? I'll pose it that way. Do you think we're a year too early to we're in the pregame? Like I mentioned this before. We're in the pregame section right now, just chilling, waiting to go to the party. Are we in that situation where like we're just a year too early, or maybe 6 months early to the party? Could that be potential
Yeah, I
what we're
think
looking at.
I think everything's been sort of shifted, sort of translated.
Because you can't, like, the veterans here, like everybody I speak to, I think, who is knowledgeable, even outside of this space, everybody has a different take. I'm getting a lot of people saying that the, somewhere now, 22, 23, everything reset with institutions coming in. So like it's kind of like you're getting different type of opinions being placed onto this market. So are we early, or really, like, is the 4 year cycle intact and that's it, man? Just deal with it. We had a little institutional run, but that retail wasn't. I can't wrap my head around it, Kelly. Retail wasn't even fucking here. So how can I go ahead and like look at this and say like it's done? Like I can't put my head around it.
I think this changed everything. On this, I put this map out. It's actually pinned on the top of my X account. I put this out June 12th, and ETFs going live started the real change of the game. We went into a different epoch, essentially the start of Bitcoin financialization. Then where we're at right now is the world racing to stack Bitcoin or get their systems in place to do so, even if it's just starting to discuss it in parliaments and government bodies. But I think because of this is why it's like we didn't have any of this, the financialization of Bitcoin, governments, institutions, the biggest financial players in the world getting involved until, starting right here on January 11th of last year. So I think because of this, if I had to guess, that kind of puts us similarly, like if I had to look at it on the 2017 cycle, I think we're like about right here. Now, I don't think we're going to go parabolic like this because those days may have passed for a while. We may get some super cycle, but in terms of the like where we're at along this trajectory, I think we may be early because of all these things. And again, remember, I told you I posted this June 12th. I've had this gift from God buy zone, even when the price was kind of pushing up in here. I knew we'd run up at some point, but I thought if we came back down and lost this trend line here, I thought that this was going to be an excellent buy zone. We're right now, it's not validated or invalidated. It's going to kind of suck if this falls through. It just means lower prices. But as it stands right now, it's exactly as I was looking how it would be back in June, even with all the noise and even with everything. I do think things kind of translated a little bit longer time frame now. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be getting that just massive melt up. I think it's going to be doing this sort of rounding, pump, sell off. Okay, 7 months sideways, chop the living hell out of everybody. Oh my God, it's going to 700,000. Oh, reset back to a previous range at 70,000. I think we're just like this. We're shaking into the new circumstances that this asset class is right now and shaking off the tourists and inviting in people that got some freaking cojones.
Let's go. Kelly from Discover Crypto, Bitlab Academy. Check him out. Give him a follow. I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you coming on. And maybe later in this month, we can go ahead and touch base again and see where we're at, man. You know what it is? A lot of people contact me. They're like, man, can you get on some TA guys? And I'm like, no problem. I'm going to bring on a lot of TA guys. Let's see where everybody stands with, their own thoughts and opinions on obviously the charts and stuff. But I really appreciate you coming on.
I want to say with that too, because I've been very bullish. And on that post that I laid out, I am not knocking or blindly ignoring the fact that if you looked specifically at just the TA of Bitcoin and ignored all the context stuff, it looks like on a technical basis, it looks like dog shit. There's been a bearish divergence on major time frames all the way since March of last year, suggesting we're coming into this also time frame that people consider the end of the cycle. In addition to the fact that liquidity has been coming out, it does technically look like we have a lot of bearishness that's in store. But I cannot look at that and then ignore everything else we talked about, all the liquidity coming in, the money printing, the stimulus, the circumstances laying into the future make me have to look at the tail of the two different divergences going on. And so the deeper we dip, I think the better opportunity we get. But with that, I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to coming back.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you. And great job, man. Great job. That's right. The bull is in the house. We're going to go parabolic, ladies and gentlemen. Tune into his show. Your show's at 2, right?
Yes, sir.
2 o'clock. Tune in. Give him a follow. Thank you, Kelly.
I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.
That is Kelly. And This is me. I'm David. That's right. I'm David. That's right. That's right. Shout out to Kelly from Discover Crypto, Bitlab Academy. You can go ahead check him out. Go give him a follow. He does spaces also on X. I know a lot of you guys are tuning in from LinkedIn and YouTube and other channels that we have linked up here, but you can go ahead and tune into him as well. We'll be right back after this commercial break, silent break from Gemini. That's right, Gemini. That's right. And you've been watching the breakdown, episode 620, sponsored by Gemini. Go to gemini.com/David G to go look at the new lineup of credit cards that Gemini has to offer. Of course, these offers, or excuse me, the credit cards are issued by WebBank. That's right, issued by WebBank. 4% back in Bitcoin, 4% back in Solana, 4% back in XRP, depending on the card that you do choose. Go to gemini.com/David G. Tell them I sent you, okay? Hopefully, one day I can get my lighting right, man. Oh no, man. Damn, I am a sexy mother. I just noticed that I am a handsome son of a bitch. That's right. Look at that. I'm looking into the I'm looking into this goddamn monitor. God damn it. I was blessed. Anyway, breakdown episode 620. All right, 620. That's where we're at. Gemini's the sponsor. We might have it's at 2:15 p.m. we have Wendy O coming on, so we'll talk to Wendy. That's right, we'll talk to Wendy. Wendy will go ahead and drop some. I got some questions. Hopefully, she can go ahead and answer them, and I think she will be. There's a lot of fear right now. Like there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear in my DMs, text messages, and there's a lot of fear on the timelines. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Like I'm being like in this situation right now. I want to be somebody you can go ahead and look up to, and like I don't know what the fuck to tell you. If you believe in this ecosystem, then you'll be fine because you know it will be fine. But if you absolutely do not believe in this shit and you just strolled in here expecting to get $1 million check within 3 days, you are in for a rude awakening. That's all I can say. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know when we bounce. I don't know if we're going to bounce off a 92, if we're gonna break 92, go to 80, break 80, go to 1,000. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can give you a guesstimate, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. I don't know. Anybody ever tell you that? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Right now, I want a lot. Lost for words because I'm looking and I'm reading and it's just like I'm sure a lot of people are just like looking at their portfolios and saying like, "Hey, do I pull out here right now?" Like how many people were in the 2 millions and now like let's say somebody had $2 million and now they're sitting at 500,000. Do you pull out? It's a serious question. It's one of those like you have $500,000 left. Do you pull out? You were at 2 million, but now you're at 5. Do you pull out? That's what people are looking at right now. People are looking at whether or not. Hold on. I think a lot of people are looking at it and they're trying to figure out whether they pull out or not. I think I think that's what's happening right now. You have a lot of nervous people. A lot of people are nervous about, everything that's happening. And no matter what I say, no matter how bullish I am, I put up a video today. I was extremely bullish. I am bullish. I am bullish. I would be bullish at $1 Bitcoin. Like that is who I am. I will stay bullish. Right now, you know what I'm doing? I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting back. This is me the last 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 days. Maybe even a few more. Let's call it a week. I have my assets, right? I'm getting out of the dog shit that I've been holding. Yesterday I got rugged. I got literally rugged yesterday. I don't even know if I want to talk about that. That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Okay. I held on for let me just say this. I held on to something for like 2, 3 years, and I round tripped it twice or 3 times. Millions. Round tripped it. And then yesterday it was sent to 0. I was in shock. I didn't know how to react to it. Today, I was a little bit angry. That's what happened. It needed to marinate for more than like 20. It needed more than 24 hours to marinate for me to really, really understand. And I got a temper, man. I'm a New Yorker, man. And I got that Eastern European flow to me. So I am absolutely fucking livid. I'm just trying to be professional and hold it back. Disappointing. But so here's what here's this market is a little bit confusing. I don't even want to say confusing. This market is it makes appreciate it. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat and shit. It is crazy. There are a lot of things that are just not doing well. Teams aren't out there being loud, holding spaces. Like even when Kelly was on here, we were talking about Pepe. Where's Pepe? Where are all the Pepe spaces? No, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm going to say the most unpopular opinion out here, right? I will hold Pepe, but like, where is everybody? The only person I see on social media talking about Pepe is Plasma. That's it. It's the only person I see talking about Pepe is Plasma. He's on the timeline consistently replying, posting, and talking about Pepe. Nobody else is. What kind of confidence does that give me? Then I'm being dead. I'm going to fucking have an honest conversation with you guys. And you know what? What I'm saying right here should fucking resonate. If you are holding Pepe right now, who's talking about it? And I know Sakasa loves to say mimetic energy, and I fuck with it. But who is talking about Pepe? Great, it's programmed. You know what? Bitcoin's programmed also. Guess what Bitcoiners do? They talk about it. They hold rooms every single day and they talk about macro and all this shit about Bitcoin. If I might despise Bitcoin maxis, but one thing that I know about Bitcoiners is that they will never, well, the difference between Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoiners, big difference, because I consider myself a Bitcoiner versus a Bitcoin maxi, but you already know that. But Bitcoin maxis will sit and have rooms every single day and talk about the same shit over and over and over again, but it doesn't matter because they are talking about it. Where are the people? Like, I got shit, a lot of shit, but I held Pepe spaces for 9-10 months. Where's everybody? Where are the Pepe spaces? Why isn't anybody talking about Pepe? Go ahead. This is not me. This is not me dunking on Pepe, by the way. This absolutely has nothing to do about me dunking on Pepe. This is about me asking you, like, where is everybody? Where? Truly ask yourself this fucking question. You have to, man. If you are invested into these things, if you own these things, if you own these collectibles, then you have to ask yourself, like, where the fuck is everybody? And don't tell me my algorithm is not, like my algorithm is the same as yours, man. I see nothing. I see absolutely nothing. People are talking about vampire attacks. Let me give you one. People try to vamp Bobo. Guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing. All went to 0. Okay? You know why it went to 0? I'm going to give you an example why vamping Bobo will not succeed, because you have a actual community there. Okay? You have an actual community here, and we will not leave. We will accumulate in this range, in any range. We will buy at 300 million the same way we would buy at 5 million. It doesn't matter what you say about us and your goddamn Bobo maps. It doesn't matter. You don't matter. You should have been swallowed. You're a walking condom commercial, Bobo billions, and that's what it is. Like, bottom line, it doesn't matter. And when you attack the bear, it only hurts you. You're wasting money. When you attack the bear, you're only wasting money. So I see on the timeline, people are just going back and forth, back and forth. They're talking about, oh, I'm being vamped. I'm being vamped. The Bobo community, they're vamping. Bobo bros run the universe. Nobody's vamping anything. I've looked at these market caps. They've done nothing as of late. They're sitting at dick. They are literally sitting at dick. Somebody yesterday told me I should get into. By the way, this is the story yesterday where I got the rug, the Persian rug, the expensive Persian rug pulled up under my goddamn feet. Somebody says you should keep on investing into stonks on ETH. Are you fucking delusional? If I wanted to give away my money to charity, I'd give it away to charity. Okay? And if you guys need money, I offer 0% interest. Okay? Jew Bank. Not powered by anybody but me. Y'all crazy. I'm not touching that contract. I round trip millions of dollars on it. Are you fucking kidding me? You asking me to come back in to get smacked? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What do you think, I'm on crack? I wouldn't look like this if I smoke crack. See, I say things that other people won't say because I don't know, you're fucking shy or something. Fuck that. It's what the market wants. Bottom line. If the market wants a different Bobo, they'll get a different Bobo. Okay? If a market wants a different stonk, so it's getting a different stonks. Like, it's what the market decides. If the market wants a different Mog, you're gonna get a different Mog. Like, I'm watching it. I'm not blind to it. I see it all out there, and I know the rumors that they're gonna start. Oh my God, look what he's advocating vamps. No, I'm advocating for being a market participant and watching market participants participating in the goddamn markets. Do I feel like it's right? That doesn't matter what I feel. My feelings don't matter. I feel like Bitcoin should be at 200K. I feel like Ethereum should be at 20K. I feel like my memes that I hold should have me at a network just from the memes. They should be at $30 million. I feel that it should be like this, but my feelings don't matter. Okay? The markets decide. The people decide. If the people want something to send, that they're going to send it, and there's nothing we can do about it. I can start a space and tell you it is absolutely wrong. It is absolutely wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. We should rally around one and send it. And I believe that we should rally around one and just send it, because as soon as that shit sends, guess what happens? As soon as that shit sends, everything that's legitimate in this space goes with it. But you have to have that one that goes. Who knows? Right now, the topic is Wojak, right? Wojak's doing its thing on Solana. Who knows? Maybe the one on Ethereum pops up in the next 2 to 3 months and says, you know what? The market decides, well, the one on Ethereum is the real one, and we're going to send that one. Or maybe it's just going to be like, hey, fuck the one on Ethereum, we're sending the one on Solana. The market decides. It's not, you guys start pointing your fingers at individuals, but it's not the individuals who are deciding this shit. It's a collective. It's a goddamn collective. You guys start fucking pointing fingers. Oh, since it's Rek Takashi, we're gonna go after Bobo. Motherfuckers, you got friends in Bobo. I'm going after Bobo, we're gonna kill it. Rek Takashi's the only dev that hasn't left his goddamn project. Let me repeat it for those who don't hear or have a hearing problem. Rek Takashi is the only dev of a meme that has not ran away from his goddamn project. And he's been here not getting no creator rewards, no nothing, been shit on, okay? Shows up every day, makes videos, makes fucking art, trolls you motherfuckers like nobody's business, makes funny ass posts, and yet y'all have some grievances with this man. I don't even talk to him like that either. I don't even talk to Rek like that. And I'm telling you, I'd rather be in Bobo knowing that the dev shows up than any of you. Go ahead. Let's talk about one of your projects, because I guarantee you your dev and your community's missing. It's amazing. Bottom line, what I'm trying to say is the markets will decide, okay? The markets, the people will ultimately decide what they want to be in. That's it. You know what? If your shit is lacking, then you need to go ahead and do better. That's really it. Yo, if I had a token and it was XYZ and then another XYZ came along, right? And that shit, my market cap was at 5 million. Their shit's sent to like 13 million. I would have to look in the mirror and ask myself this question. Do I need to do better? Do I need to step up? Does the community need to step up? Do we need to do more spaces? Do we need to attack Reddit, 4chan? Do I need to go naked outside of Times Square with a guitar? I would need to ask these questions. Not open up spaces crying, how dare you? Oh, that's it. Let's just do... No. But it is a decentralized fucking ecosystem, right? We talk about decentralization all the time. Well, like I said, the people decide. Whether I think it's right or wrong doesn't... By the way, I want to say this again. Whether I think it's right or wrong doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter. The market doesn't give a fuck about DG's opinion. The market right now is starving. People can't pay the rent. You think they give a fuck about your legion? You think they give a fuck about loyalty? You think people give a fuck about loyalty? You guys put the wrong people on the pedestal and then you're fucking crying. You don't listen to the OGs out here. You should be loyal and you should be this and you should be that. There is no loyalty here. Have you ever gone to sleep on a Solana play? I did. I woke up to something that went to 500K that is down to that I woke up to, it was at 75K. You think so? You know what it is? Here's the problem. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. I'm an Ethereum head. I'm a Solana, I also hold Solana, but I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm an Ethereum head. We're conditioned to holding. Old school motherfuckers are conditioned to holding. We know what a round trip is. If you want to talk about loyalty, we're hella loyal, okay? Hella loyal. This market, this cycle, motherfucker, you can't hold things like you hold things like on Ethereum. You guys are bastards. You wake up in the morning, you guys have no morals. You want to talk about morals? That's great to listen to. It's amazing to listen to motherfuckers. You know what it is? The motherfuckers that are dumping on you are the ones always pointing the finger at somebody, like me. They'll point the finger at me, somebody who holds religiously and gets dumped on, but yet they're doing the dumping on. They're the dumpers, They're like the Joker says, like in Dark Knight, they're the ones. I can tell a dumper when I see one. They're the dumpers. They're ruthless. Yet, and they have the audacity. These motherfuckers have the audacity after they dump and nuke a chart to look you in the face and tell everybody, well, it's this motherfucker. Look, not everybody. There are people, there are cats here that act like me and others where we hold the bag. You know, we want to believe in something, right? We want to rally around something and believe. Like, look at, by the way, I got to say, the SPX dudes, I got to say that community that's a special community. And I'm not just saying that because Murad came on. I'm telling you, man, they have been nothing but nice to me. Like DMs sent to me, they were mad nice. Like, hey, come out to this event. They posted it on the timeline. They were in my DMs like, hey, like we think you're really, I didn't know you before, but after this interview, I fuck with you. I see what you're trying to do. It was really nice. It was really nice. It was a touching moment for me. It was a really touching moment. Felt like somebody cared. Welcome to the breakdown, episode 620, sponsored by Gemini, produced by Gokhshtein Media. That's right. My name is David Gokhshtein. If you haven't heard of me, then you're an idiot. Go ahead and lock in the notifications. Give me a follow. Follow me on all platforms. Man. And people were like, yo, do you have a comment about yesterday? Yeah, I got a new asshole yesterday after the Persian rug. Yes, that's my comment. There you go. Is that what you wanted? You wanted me to go ahead and tell you how I feel today? How I feel? You know what? Here's the problem with a lot of you guys. You don't look for solutions, okay? You bitch about the same thing for fucking days. Oh my God, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. But you guys don't come with solutions. That's why a lot of your fucking memes suck. That's why a lot of your fucking contracts are going to zero, because y'all complain about competitors. You imagine if Steve Jobs was out there complaining about the competition trying to come at Apple's neck? Can you imagine Steve Jobs is out there complaining about somebody else trying to take market share away from Apple? You think he would no, he wouldn't give a fuck. He didn't care when Android, whatever, even Samsung was coming out. He didn't give a fuck. You know what he's focusing on? Making my product better. That's what I would be focusing on, man. Make my product better. Make it stand out. Why isn't it not resonating with the people, man? Why are people just not resonating with this shit? That is the problem. That's the problem that you have. You don't have your problems. Your problems are bigger than you think. I don't think you've taken a seat back for a second and analyzed the situation. People just don't leave or go to something else when something else is already out there if there isn't a problem. The problem is not somebody else. Think about it. I get this all the time with this fucking, the rage guy versus rage guy shit. I get it all the time. So the other rage guy community who vamped another rage guy community, there have been 13 rage guys. By the way, let's make a clarification here. There have been 13, maybe even more, rage guy token attempts, okay? So, and none of them have worked. So for anybody to say anybody's vamping anybody sounds like a fucking complete moron. A complete and utter moron. Like I've said before, I got into this rage guy, and then they're talking shit about me, and then you got fucking the KOLs that they hired talking shit about me. And then they're talking about fucking my mom and my sister and talking about killing me? What? You want me to? And I got receipts, bitches. Maybe I'll play it tomorrow on here. And guess what? And they want me to go ahead and be a part of that community. You imagine motherfuckers are twisting my hand, saying the nastiest shit ever. Despicable things. Despicable. Behind cartoon characters. Despicable shit. And they want me to join their community. Right? Think about what's being said here. We will go ahead and smear you, make up lies, drag your name through the ground, talk about your mother and your sister or your cousins, anybody. We will. Weird. Weird. Absolutely weird. You imagine? Motherfuckers just came into this space and they're talking wild like that. Just came into this space and they're talking absolutely wild like that. Welcome to the breakdown. Honestly, I ain't tagging nobody. I ain't saying their names. You know why? Because they don't get clout. Nobody sees them. They don't got a brand. They don't got a platform, okay? As soon as I mention their name, they get one. Anytime I give anybody oxygen, they get one. Why did I stop doing spaces in the morning? Because I ain't want to give anybody no goddamn platform. That's right. Work for your own. I worked plenty of years to get to this point, and I'm going much higher than I am now. And I'm pretty high now, not on drugs. I'm talking about brand position. So I ain't trying to go out there in the mornings, okay, and let everybody up on stage to go ahead and dilute my shit. Absolutely not. You can go ahead and rest these balls on your forehead. We'll be right back after a commercial break, sponsored by Gemini. God damn it. I said all that stuff. Muted. I was muted for a minute. And I honestly gave one of the most inspirational voiceovers of all time for Gemini, and nobody heard it. Anyway, we're back on the breakdown, episode 620. We had Kelly from Discover Crypto, also Bitlab Academy, talked about the markets. We also have a great lineup this week. Tune in. We had a great lineup last week. Murad was here. A lot of people were here. We were just shooting the shit. I'm reading DMs and text messages. Everybody's having a panic attack. Well, let's stop them from having panic attacks. We have somebody here who, hold on. Why wasn't this put up? Why wasn't this put up? Why am I putting it up? There we go. We're joined by somebody who you should know from this crypto ecosystem. Wendy O, what's going on?
Hey, I'm so sorry I'm late. I almost fainted because I forgot to eat.
It's okay. It's live. This is how it goes down on this show. But I'm glad that you got yourself a meal. What's going on, Wendy? What the fuck is happening with the markets?
Nothing. Well, actually, I can actually tell you. Like, I have a theory. I have some theories of what's happening with the markets. But yeah, I'm just here. I'm just watching everything. It's no different than what we've seen in the past. Crypto goes up, crypto goes down. That's why it's always important to hedge positions, make moon bags, not overinvest, all those types of things.
A lot of people that I've spoken to this time around put all their positions in altcoins and memes.
Why?
Where last time they were all positioned in Bitcoin and
Why would they
Ethereum.
do that?
Because they saw everybody make like 50x's last cycle.
There's
So
literally
now-
like one good meme coin trader that I know, Ragsy. She's absolutely amazing. Like and this is the thing, like I can't keep up with her. Like I've watched her trade these things live and she's astounding. But it's like you have to be super fast to trade meme coins. Like you have to be fast, you have to get in and out. It's not like trading meme coins is not like trading like altcoins. It's two completely different sectors. And I feel like we should all know that if we're going to get into meme coins, most of them are going to go to zero. That's just how the game goes.
Pepe positions. I was talking to Kelly about this. He thinks is not that he thinks he's dead, but it's just like dead right now as we talk about. But these are the positions that I'm talking about. The real memes. I'm not talking about the shit tickers that are out there that come off.
But it's all the same. It's pretty much like all the same, really, if you think about it. And I mean, this is my strategy. Like when I am actively trading, especially with a lot of the risky stuff, because there's different tiers. I've got 4 different tiers I go by. I make moon bags and I aggressively take profit on this stuff so that when we do have market episodes like this, that I'm fine. And if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. Like I have so many dead bags from 2021, 2020 from that whole meme coin cycle. And it is what it is, and it's fine because I took profit. So I don't know. That's just my approach to the market.
When do you take profit? When do you take your initials out and profit? Like what?
It depends. Each position is different. Position is different. It depends what I'm getting in. I'm not trading too much right now just because I've got like 900,000,000 other things to focus on. And my kid is just so busy. So I'm just doing a lot more like long-term stuff. But I have a 4-tier system I use. First tier is Bitcoin. That's something I necessarily don't plan to possibly ever sell. Something I might want to just pass down to my daughter, my nephew. And then I've got then there's tier 2. It's like the Ethereums, the Solana stuff that you might want to consider taking profit, maybe like 5 years, 10 years, like whatever that type of trajectory is, really kind of depending on, the fundamentals. Because obviously a lot of these, they're all ETFs now. They're going to that. So when we have big money, big institutions in, there's a little bit more support. And then the 3rd tier is like the risky altcoins that could go to zero, take profit fast on those. And then like the complete like yucky stuff that you just want to get in and out and make a moon bag. But I pretty much make moon bags with everything when I am actively trading. I'm just not doing too much of that right now.
What do you think of Ethereum right now and everything that it
I just want Ethereum to hit $10,000. Tom Lee needs to be more like Tommy Lee and pump this. That's what he needs to do. He needs to be an actual degenerate and pump it and send it. But there was a story that came out that he's saying that Ethereum's in a super cycle. Ethereum has done incredibly well over the years. Like I'm still overall I'm still up, but at the same time, like we're not in this, like right now we need to kind of figure out what's happening with the market first. And then we can start calling if we're going to be in a super cycle and whatnot. I don't see why Ethereum won't hit $10,000 one day. but it's going to take time, definitely.
Do you think Solana has something to do with well, first I'll say this. Do you think retail has come
They've
into
been
play?
here. Retail has been here.
No, but I'm saying new retail buyers. I'm talking
Yes.
about you
Yes.
think retail actually came in?
Yes, they've been here. This is the thing. People on crypto Twitter are so oblivious to what's actually happening in crypto as a whole because, again, we're so used to this ecosystem. And unfortunately, on X, we have a plethora of bots that just kind of run around. Um, that is perpetuated by AI, which don't even get me started on that. But it's like it's such a big echo chamber here, and that's why I make content on YouTube and on TikTok, on Instagram and Facebook. And my numbers on Facebook and Instagram are actually like insane. I think we're averaging like 7 million views per month, which is crazy. Just with a lot of the content I'm making, and it's not just clips, it's actually me covering the news and talking about, but there's a big interest over there, and retail has very much been a part of it. They're just not really paying attention to the meme coins or to the shitters or to whatnot. They're paying close attention to the top 100, and they have
So
been.
echo chamber, which I agree with you, which is X, and the algorithm sucks here, and the AI. I agree with you. Like every single, I don't, honestly, like I'm scared to reply to anybody on X because I don't know if it's actually a human being behind it trying to have a conversation.
One of the things I noticed too is a lot of people, like a lot of people that I know personally, they just kind of like not even on X anymore. They just have AI or a bot running their account now, which is really sad because there used to be so much good conversation to be had on this platform. And this used to be the premier place to get crypto information, which again, we're still able to get the premier crypto information first. It generally drops here first, but to actually have these educational conversations and the discourse, we don't have that anymore because most people are bots or they're using bots or they're using AI, and it just gives a really horrible experience, in my opinion. I like humans. I like having conversations with humans, and that's how I learn.
I gotta agree with you. I like YouTube and I like TikTok better than X now. Meaning, like, because like like you don't have this toxic atmosphere. Social media is toxic in general, but like
No,
you
TikTok
don't have
is toxic. It is toxic.
but it's not like you get what I'm saying. Like it's not like X. X is like the definition of toxicity. Like to me personally, like it
Well,
is.
because they use bots. They use bots to weaponize their opinion or their idea, or I don't even wanna say opinion, it's just an idea, and it just gets really nasty. I mean, and it's okay to have discourse, it's okay to not agree with people, but, like, when you start, um, insulting to an extent to where you're not able like, you're just name calling, to me, it's just dumb, it's a waste of time.
Solana, and speaking of Solana, Pump Fund, do you think Pump Fund ruined patient holders and turned them into gamblers, or were they always gamblers?
Where's the accountability? Like, why in 2025 do we have 0 accountability as a society? Like, everybody is made like, yeah, the economy is terrible, inflation is terrible. There's a lot of horrible things that are happening as far as, hardworking tax-paying Americans are unable to just to live, to breathe. But at the same time, where's the accountability in our actions?
I agree with that. Like you're pressing the buy button, you're pressing the sell button.
Like,
Um,
you can opt out, like, I'm a type of like, the type of the how I grew up and just my personal life experience and, like, the things that I have been through, I have a really hard t I don't feel sorry for people that make poor decisions. It's like, okay, if you make a poor decision, I understand, I'll help you, like, I'll guide you to where you need to be, but if you cannot take accountability for your actions and you're blaming on Pump or this or that, like, Pump's a platform, like, nobody's holding no one is forcing you to be like, "You have to use it." I mean, is it a net negative or a net positive for crypto? It kind of really depends who you talk to. But realistically, at the end of the day, it's the actual crypto users who have done this to the market. They're the ones that are using the platforms. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to gamble. You don't have to use these platforms. You don't have to put money into it. Like, I don't use Pump.fun. Like, I've never launched a token or anything like that there. So, like,
you know what it is? I personally like. I think it's crazy, but like last cycle and the previous cycle, we used to like, well, from I'll say it from my standpoint, we used to go into things and believe. Like we used to hold, like we knew what holding was, and then
I don't know if it's my internet or your internet that froze. Let me re let me redo this.
believes
Oh,
it's kind of fun. Like, oh, am I still here?
no, you're still here.
Okay, thank God. No, but I was saying like, hey, like like there was kind of like a build up to every single asset that would come out on the market and stuff. back in previous cycles. Now there's like no buildup of anything. It's just like anybody can deploy, and now everybody's chasing. I feel like a
But
lot
David,
of
people
a
were
lot of
able
my
to make
friends
meme
like
coins back
right,
then too, though. But like DeFi summer, people were able to make
it
meme
had,
coins.
but you needed like a developer to do it because a lot
No, you didn't.
these cats can't code.
You
Well,
didn't
there were
need a
some
developer.
platforms that allowed you to launch, but then like you would have to put in LP and then you would have to lock it up. These people are way too lazy to do that. But now
Yeah,
everything's like
Unicrypt.
so. Well, yeah. That what I'm saying is though, like it was you had people believe in developers and they would make the Solidity contract and they would send it off to Certic and Certic would go ahead and give it a grade. And now everybody's waiting and like devs are actually paying money to have this all the, what was it, $150,000 to $200,000 combined to even launch a contract. Now costs you nothing. So now you have oversaturation with no liquidity. That's
Right.
what I'm
Well,
basically looking
if
at.
people don't like it, they can change. People can make a collective effort to change.
And I think you know what will happen here, and I think the Bitcoin maxis will be absolutely thrilled about this. This situation right now will have people say, you know what? I am miserable. I am taking whatever I have and I'm throwing it into Bitcoin. And then I'll put some into Ethereum and maybe Solana. I think that's where we're going to go within the next few months. I think people are just going to get fed up because I can't see you being excited about chasing. Like chasing every day, waking up miserable, chasing and just getting like rugged every second. I don't know
They'll
how you
use
can have
AI. They'll
fun.
use Elon Musk's AI, and they'll be on UBI and all kinds of stuff, right?
It's wild. It's wild. I got to say that I think nobody's watched the Terminator. I don't think anybody's watched iRobot either. Those are
They
documentaries to
didn't
me.
read any of the
And
I grew up watching all these old horror movies, and we literally are becoming 138, and it's very sad. The degradation of society is absolutely heartbreaking. Like I was talking about it on my show earlier about UBI. I think what did Elon Musk say? He said something about optimists will you don't have to work, or no, here's the quote. He says optimists will eliminate poverty and provide universal high income for all. Like what is that? That's not society. That's not living. Time and time again we've seen how terrible socialism is to countries that really face socialism. Humans thrive. One of the things that I've noticed is that technology continues to advance. Human emotions have not really advanced too much throughout society, and humans need to be able to get up and to go to work. Or for example, women need to get up, care for the house, take care of the kids, have babies, those types of to an extent where it's consensual. Men need to get up and work, or vice, like whatever that is. Like people have to have their reason to get up. When everybody's getting a base income and they're able to just live off of that, it removes the need to work for more, to do better. And historically throughout society, we have seen people needing to be able to do that. And if you remove that need away, then society just breaks down.
I agree. I like this topic. Might have you come back and we should touch on AI. Hotep is absolutely hilarious. He wrote something about it, but I can't pull it up right now. But it was fucking absolutely funny. Hotep is totally against anything. I swear to God, I think Hotep is definitely against anything that Elon is putting out there now. But shout out to Hotep Jesus. You can catch him at 2 p.m. Actually, now doing Hotep Jesus live. But Wendy, I appreciate you coming on. One of the dopest chicks, women in the crypto space. Check her out. Give her a follow, Wendy. Oh, shout out to you and your massive success.
Thank you so much for having me on and sending everybody love and light. Be well, and don't rely on AI or UBI because it's not going to end well. Bye.
Thank you, Wendy. Appreciate you. It's not gonna end well, ladies and gentlemen. It's not gonna end well. It's not gonna end well. I've been against it. A lot of you guys have made AI your personality. A lot of you guys have made AI your personality. By the way, let me bring in somebody real quick because we got 10 minutes to go ahead and spare here. I got my quant. I got my quant here. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the quant. Landy, what's going on, quant?
What's up, baby?
Man,
Doing well, sir.
what's going on, man? You're the only person I bring on here that does not have a face to them. You understand this, right?
I do.
You have to explain this to individuals that contact me from LinkedIn saying, why did you have a goddamn puppet on your goddamn show.
Well, I mean, I'm just doing my job. I'm just middle management over here, providing shredding services for certain institutions,
Oh
and
my
you know,
the long Landon, we got fucking 9 minutes.
yeah.
Okay. I don't want to hear about your current job in the
Oh,
description and
oh,
you're washing toilets. Okay, like
look,
what
I,
the Landy, honestly, I'm scared right now.
look, the market is dumping out to key levels, right? I've been talking about these levels for a while. This is not unexpected. And look, we are at the point in cycle theory where many are going to say that this is the top, Q4 to Q1. Um, but we have a very different market structure than we've had in the past. And, we're dumping out to a very key level for Bitcoin specifically. And look, I concentrate on Bitcoin. You know this because Bitcoin is what drives where Bitcoin goes. It's in the driver's seat. If it's going to the upside, the rest of the market's going to perform well versus the US dollar in this case for many that are tracking versus fiat. But it's been a continuous Bitcoin season since the bear market. And we've run the full course of a typical cycle at this point, right? In terms of cycle theory, halving theory, and liquidity cycle theory. But um, we have very different market structure than we've had in the past. And we're headed to a key level. This is a big weekly level between 93.5 and $89,000. We just passed a daily level inside of that weekly level at 92. So the next big level to the downside would be around $89,000. This happens to be a big higher low on the weekly, and it was also a lower high. You might remember the whole Q1 to Q2 transition that I talked about last year. And then we got that big move up into Q1 and then the big sell off coming into Q2, right? That big April sell off. We're now right at kind of that inflection point of that range. We've broken back into it and we're plumbing the bottom side of that range. Before we broke down to that 74,000 area, we were holding up around 89 to 92 on the dailies. We set a higher low on the weekly that was at 93.5 on a close. So we're right in the midst of a big daily level and a big weekly level. And this is a very key area to pay attention to. $89,000 to the downside. If we start to breach below it, we're now entering where we hit that lower high. So when Bitcoin went down, it hit like 78 and then it rallied. Well, it rallied to $89,000 and then it dumped out to 74. So there's some real significance to this area, but context is key. On the weekly, we're coming off of an all-time high, right? We've been down for some weeks now, right? But Bitcoin was just at $126,000, meaning that it was on a higher high, and now we're on a lower low. This is a market that's in transition right now in terms of price action. So we were in an uptrend, right? We were higher highs and higher lows, and now we've broken that uptrend. We have a lower low. Typically, what comes next, and this is not what people want to hear, is a lower high, and then a bearish period ensues. But here's the opportunity that the bulls have in front of them for this market, for Bitcoin specifically. There is a ton of price action at these levels, right? Meaning that there is going to be bids here. We haven't quite found them. We found them initially yesterday on the weekly at 93.5, and now we're headed down to test more. And this is I'm not I last cycle I called the high and I called the low and I put my calls out there publicly if everyone can go find them. They were pretty accurate. And I've had to bring that up before because everyone's been on my case about like, why haven't you called the high? You haven't called the macro high yet. and I haven't called the macro high yet, and I'm willing to be late if we do put in a macro top for Bitcoin and for the cycle in general for crypto. I'm willing to be late and play confirmation with it because we are in a very different market structure in terms of price action, and we're in a very different type of place and time for liquidity in markets in general. We've got a lot of things in flux, tariffs. We've got cuts coming out of the Fed now. We have the ending of QT. We have a potential new Fed head coming in next year. We've got legislation that needs to be passed, right? But you'll notice that these are all things that are unknowns, right? Because they're not actionable reality yet, but they are things that could very easily turn the market quickly. And in the macro context for Bitcoin and crypto in general, we are in a consolidation, a macro consolidation. For Bitcoin specifically, a monthly and a quarterly macro consolidation. Even though we've been in a bull market, we have not actually seen volatility increase to the upside like we've seen. This would be the first bull market where the quarterly did not get volatility expansion. And that would be very odd, right? For any asset to not get a cyclical bull market that didn't see quarterly expansion. I'm sorry. So this gives me pause on saying that, I should probably leave the door open instead of calling the macro top because we could very easily see fake outs to the downside that rip right back to the upside from here. And I know that some are very confident in their call that the top is in and we're going into a year-long bear market, and they might be right. And I'm willing to meet that criteria head on when I see a market structure change and tell everybody my thoughts about that along the way. But there's a lot of outliers here on the technicals, and then there is potential upcoming catalysts that could spur liquidity into these markets. But I can't count on the upcoming potentials because these take time, right? We've only just gotten the Genius Act passed recently. So there's a lot of players still just trying to figure out what the hell to do with crypto and how to integrate it into their plan. And so far, all we've seen is spot ETFs and let's create a digital asset treasury. And that's where we're at right now. You're muted.
I hear you. I'm sorry. Well, you didn't hear me, but I want to ask you this question. If you're, because I'm reading what I'm getting in, right? So like, I don't give a fuck about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like I'm being dead serious. Like I don't care. And what I mean by that is like, I'm confident, right?
Yeah.
At any
Long-term
level.
holds.
Yeah. So like, I don't care. I'm getting a lot of altcoin meme, especially memes, right? If you're in the meme, like this is not financial advice. Landy, if you're in memes right now, do you hold? Because they bottomed. I mean, they're bottoming.
Look,
So I'm talking about the real. So let me make it very clear.
Yes.
I'm not talking about dick in your eye and dick in your ass in you. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the legitimate memes. Do you get out right now, or do you like bite the bullet and hold? Like
Look,
if it was you, forget about
you're
anybody
down
else.
90%, right? You've already lost most of if you were in and you were buying the highs, and look, memes topped a while ago. So if you're selling at these levels, I don't know what you're doing, right?
No, but I'm saying like at some point, do you sell off and call it a day and take whatever else you have? Like just take whatever you have and leave? Or do you hold on and just bite the bullet?
Look, you consolidate the garbage that you take your L's on, right? And if it's pure trash, you get rid of it and you make a plan for accumulating the stuff that still has potential and that you still have conviction in, that still has community, that still has people that are, putting work in, right? Because why would you sell when you're already 90% down from the high? Why would you can go another 90%, but what does that even matter anymore? Because this is the problem with people who get into memes is they don't know how to identify value, right? They they sell on red days and they buy on green days. And I'm sorry, you have to adjust your thinking. You should be taking profit when the market's ripping to the upside, and you should be thinking about where you want to accumulate this when it's going down. I mean, why would you look? What we're going to find is a lot more of what you described earlier is a lot of people that jump ship and take the whole ship down with them and all of the passengers on board, right? And you know what I'm referring to. But in reality, there's still large holder counts on very large projects. Could they still dive significantly lower? Yeah. But at this point, you have to think about how far they went up, how much they've retraced, and pick some levels, right? If you're willing, and then just cut the crap.
But wouldn't it be smart to get out now if if what you're saying is true
Hmm.
or plays out, where
Hmm.
Bitcoin continues to retrace, right? Or pull back.
Hmm.
That means it's
Or go
going
full bear.
with it, correct?
Well, look.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is like you're if let's say you have 500 grand in a meme, I'm
Hmm.
just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
You had 2 million, now you have 500 grand.
Yeah.
And this continues, right? Wouldn't it be better to just pull out the 500 grand, wait, and then go back in? If
I
you like
mean,
that meme.
in one aspect, yes, but that also means that if you're already down from, 2 mil to 500 grand, you made some terrible mistakes. And the only reason why you'd move that position is because one, you expect this to go down another, you know, another, you expect, a very large drawdown even from here, which is absolutely possible. Um, but you now have to lock in your loss, right? You have to lock in your paper loss, make it reality. Pay taxes on any gains, and likely you have no liquidity left over to actually average your position into one that makes more sense, right? So, I look, my advice was to take profit on the highs, and I'd been talking about that across spaces and all that stuff for a
I
very
get
long
it.
time.
We always
But
say take profits, right? When it's in the
right,
green. But I'm saying like that
but
that this
right
is
now,
the thing I want to talk about is because like I get banged with these DMs, I see them on the timeline, people are talking about this. If they like I'm using an example because I seen it. Somebody said I had 2 million, now I'm down to 500K. What do I
yeah,
do? And in
w
my mind, like if the shit's gonna keep going down, like, yeah, you take out, but imagine like 5 hours later you take out
yeah.
and it just pops.
Why are you gonna take out on supports that I'm buying, right? I'm buying it for the bounce. You might as well wait for the next upside move, right? You don't sell the move down. You sell the move back up after the move down, right? You sell the
Yeah, but wouldn't you
bounce.
want but that's this the conversation I'm trying to have is like, wouldn't you want to go ahead and like take out now? This is a hypothetical conversation.
Mhm.
You take out okay, you had 2 million, whatever. Now you're down to 500,000 or whatever it is. You pull out now, it goes down lower, you buy back and you have a bigger position, right?
Sure. I mean, you can take that risk, but you've already
That's a major
l
risk, right?
yeah, well, yeah, you have risk on both sides. You have risk that you could potentially be selling the downtrend and it turns around and takes off back to the upside after it takes your liquidity because for every buyer there's a seller, for every seller there's a buyer. So remember when you're selling that into the liquidity pool, somebody's taking out the other side. Now, granted, in a lot of dexes and perp dexes, that is just the liquidity pool is holding it.
Yeah.
Um, and you're removing, the token pair or the USDT or USDC out the other side, um, which would send prices much lower, especially if you're bigger. But the biggest thing to consider is that you have to know what your plan is. What is your plan if you sell now and it goes back up? What
Well,
is your
hold on.
plan gonna be?
My thing would be, okay, take that out, go get yourself well, if we're speaking about that, go get yourself 5 Bitcoin.
Okay, but what if Bitcoin continues to dump? Are you gonna be able to hold that?
But I'm just saying you have Bitcoin though, right?
Sure, but most people are still you already sold in the red once. You're probably gonna get scared out of your position if this continues to dump on Bitcoin too.
But, like, you can do a lot of things with Bitcoin, right?
Sure, yeah, you can actually do DeFi stuff with Bitcoin these
That's what I'm
days
saying,
that
like,
you couldn't do before.
you can loan against it, right? I'm just saying in general, there's
Yeah,
things I'm not saying you can't loan against I'm sure you can loan against some other stuff, but, like, if you convert
you
it,
don't
right?
want to. Yeah, you don't
But, like
really want to. They're not good assets.
but now, like, you get 5 Bitcoin for yourself. 1 is amazing to have in terms of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, right? But, like, you have 5 Bitcoin, and now you sit back and you try to figure it out. Like, okay, I have 5 Bitcoin. I'm looking
Mhm.
at the market right now, the way it's, you know, it's behaving, and I'm thinking, okay, I have 5 Bitcoin. I can use 1 Bitcoin to re-enter the markets, right?
Mhm.
In general, I like, hey, don't
Yeah.
sell your Bitcoin. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, or you can borrow whatever it is, however you want to figure it out. You can always get back in. It won't be at the same position, let's say, but like you can always get back in and make money.
Yes, you could, but you also then have to be very cognizant that you now have to identify the low, right? Because you're trying to get back in. You're either going to wait out until structure turns around and the market starts to show some stability, or you you know and then re-enter, or you take and you go to another asset and you wait it out, or you sit in cash, right?
No, but well, think about this, Lan. Like, think about this for a second. Pull
Hmm.
out that money, put it into Bitcoin. Even if Bitcoin goes down, Bitcoin's going to go up. Who goes up first?
Well, I mean, it's going to be Bitcoin's the driver in the market, right?
So Bitcoin, let's say, pops back up from, I don't know. You want to say Bitcoin's going to break past, what is it at right now? Is it at 92, 93? I don't know where the fuck
It's
it
at
is right now.
91 and a half or so. It just hit.
So if it's at 91 and a half, right? Where do you see it
Mhm.
bouncing, or where do you see it breaking right now?
Well, right now it's inside of a weekly between 89 and 103, and it's playing around
Okay.
some dailies between 92 and essentially 90.
So
Um,
what if you take money and just go buy it at right now, and yeah, it goes to 89, but then it pops back up to 100?
that's too short term. Look, the move is still. This is my point. Is this is an ongoing move? We haven't even set a low yet. Right. So anybody thinking about selling right now needs to understand that you need to see where the actual lows get set, at least on a daily time frame, and then start to think about what you're going to do from there. Because this is a move that's in progress in the market. And it's not just crypto. It's this is traditional markets doing this too. Right. So you have to see where do we find stability in the markets? Do we start to get a bounce? Because if you're selling now, you don't know where the stability is going to come in just yet. You have to wait for the market to show signs of stability at a certain price point, put in a low, and then see where things go from there. Because then you can make much more clear-headed decisions because now you're not thinking like, "Oh my god, it's dumping out and it could potentially dump way way lower." But then you have to think about this. Let's say you get out, you got your $500,000, you buy $90,000 Bitcoin, and we do go into a bear market, let's say, and price goes down another 50%, right? So now you're at $45,000. You've halved your
But at
holdings
least you have
again.
an asset.
True, right?
No,
Now, Bitcoin gives you
I'm not saying
flexibility.
that memes won't pop off. What I'm saying is, like, but at least you have an asset, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's like
that's
a
what I'm
house.
saying. Like, at least, like, okay, it's going down, but Bitcoin will go back up. Like, it
Absolutely.
will hit $1 million. So if I have 5, then I am long term going to definitely have $5 million.
Exactly, which is why I've always preached that if you're in meme coins, you take profit, you put it into USDT, USDC, but you always get your Bitcoin because there ain't no, there's only so many left, right? And you can do a lot more with Bitcoin and you can do a lot with stables. You can go and you can take a loan against your stables, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you can take a loan against your Bitcoin, right? But the fact of the matter is, if you took your loan at Bitcoin at $90,000 and it dumps out another 50%, you're hitting your liquidation levels very, very quickly. So you have to wait for the market and you have to be patient with the market for it to tell you, hey, we're setting a low here. We're starting to build structure. It's starting to transition from a downtrend into an uptrend. And that's where like this is if you've gotten into a position where you were at 2 million and now you're at 500K and you're just trying to cut losses, then if you already have that in your head, you either should have already cut losses or you need to cut losses now and completely reassess and not even worry about where you're going to re-enter, do anything. Right? That's just from this is not financial advice, but I used to get paid to do that. And that's exactly what I would say. From a psychological standpoint, you can't then make good decisions, right? If you're already seeing your portfolio bleed, you're down 500K or you're down 1.5 mil, you're at 500K, you have to go into capital preservation mode like any kind of a company would. And it doesn't matter if the market goes back up or goes down. You need to now reassess and come up with a plan that
It's
makes
let's
sense.
say it's to me, when I talk about these memes, it's a top 100, top 200 meme. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not
I
talking
don't
about
care.
dog shit. So, like,
Look, the meme sector is a small part of a very large ecosystem, right?
okay,
In terms of total market cap.
but I
So
think
I
you have
don't
only
care how
2
big it
choices
is.
here, though. I honestly think you have 2 choices. One, you buy the dip if you
Yep.
believe in it and leadership is still there and they're still building, you buy the dip if you have money to do so. Or
Yep.
2, you cut your or you could say 1, 3 things. 1, buy the dip. 2, do nothing, okay, and sit on your hands. 3, cut your losses
Yep.
and just dive into Bitcoin, even if
Yep.
Bitcoin goes backwards.
Hmm.
That
I
that
mean,
that to me makes sense.
I agree.
And
But
then, like, you could always take a Bitcoin and go into Ethereum, or you can go into fucking Solana, whatever it is. Like, you can always do these things.
yeah, but
You can
we've
take
seen
a
how that
chance.
worked
You can
out.
go into Zcash and, like, fucking Monero. Like, you could do all like, you can play around with these things right now. I know people will be like, "Okay, they're gonna." By the way, this is not financial advice. I know somebody could do this right now, and then tomorrow the shit pops off. Like, I don't know, out of nowhere, the memes just, like, the top memes
Yeah.
go blasting off.
Well, yeah, and I mean, but I mean, I'm looking at Zcash and I'm looking at it, running to prior highs that it hasn't seen in a very long time on an extended rally that's likely going to have a nasty retrace, right? This is where you have to be patient when things are running against the entire market. They usually come down just as hard as they went up. Um, Zcash is also famous for rallying very late in a bull cycle. It does it every bull cycle. It's just this time it made a structural change where it made a higher high in a monthly, which is good for Zcash holders, right? Like I hold Zcash from all the way back in the day. I don't even remember. Well, I didn't even get I didn't buy Zcash. People were sending me Zcash, so trying to get me interested in the network. But here, the biggest thing here is
Somebody's sending you Zcash?
back in the day, people were sending me Zcash all the time. Yeah, I mean,
Guys, if
we're
you would like
talking
to send me Zcash, let me know.
2017.
No.
Before we went in and peaked for the bull market, Zcash opened at insanely high valuations. But by the time it was actually buyable on a lot of these exchanges, it was probably around 40, $50. And I was involved in obviously the things that I'm involved in on the network infrastructure side. People were just sending me Zcash, just trying to get me interested. And I said, "Oh, thanks." And then I forgot about it through 2 cycles now. So I saw it rally to lower highs and I was like, I might as well just keep it. So I've had it ever since. So great. It's, I mean, it could hit $900. Great. Could it hit more than that? Sure. But you need Bitcoin to play the game to the upside here if you want more of an extension on this rally because it's getting
Shout
hot.
I gotta tell you, shout out to the Zcash community. You know why? Because, like, their marketing is pretty. Like, I'm in branding and marketing and stuff, and I'm
Hmm.
watching the market, and it's good to the general public population. You know why? Because they're just like, well, we're Bitcoin, except with privacy and security, and, like, you can say whatever you want, but the way it comes off is like
Hmm.
people are like, oh shit, now I have another chance.
Hmm. Yeah.
That
Well,
you could say whatever you want from a Bitcoiner standpoint, but, like, it
yeah.
doesn't matter because when a normie is sitting back and they've lost their asses here,
It's
they're
about
like,
narrative. Yeah.
the
It's what,
narrative is so good that it's just like, okay, I don't give a shit. You know, half these people don't give a fuck about the privacy thing. So it's just like,
No.
how do I get this? And I'm gonna watch it potentially do what Bitcoin did in 2017. That's the brand. That's the pitch.
Yeah.
And
I
how many
mean,
people, wish they could have got, whatever, Bitcoin at even 3,000.
yeah. No, I mean, look, there's Bitcoin will always be used as a comparison point for marketing purposes. And look, the privacy coin narrative is going to pick up more and more and more steam as we continue to get institutional investors in, because they're and especially banks, because you can't just have everything out there just chilling for anyone to see, right? And including like bank to bank transfers for all of their new privately issued stable coins, right? Like, so obviously there's other protocols that are being built or dropped that are also going to be doing very similar things. There's a lot of the dinosaur protocols that have already done this. They will have a place, but they will have to fight amongst themselves for market share. And I'm happy that the Zcashers got their pump. I'm happy that XRP saw new highs, but the fact of the matter is everything is being held down underwater versus last cycle. And you got to think about it. Kelly brought up a good point, but I think something that needs to be expanded on in the context that he brought up when he was talking about how like Total Two, it barely made a new all time high. So that means, Total Two is the crypto market cap minus Bitcoin, right? This is important to understand that we've also seen a ton of inflation since then. So we're actually way lower than we should be for Total Two and even Bitcoin. And this is all part of a much longer cycle where Bitcoin's in a macro consolidation, and now many of the major alts are doing the same thing. And at some point, at least for Bitcoin, that consolidation will resolve itself to the upside. And that's what people are waiting for. That's what you need to wait for, whether there's a year-long bear market, whether we go into an extended cycle and Q2 next year we go take off, because that's when you'd know, by the way, if we're in an extended cycle, Q1 to Q4 to Q1, if we start ripping back to the upside and going on a march for a leg, and we start breaking the all-time high and going on another run, that's how you know that we're in an extended cycle. I would never say super cycle, but an extended cycle. And we have bucked the trend of the 4-year cycle. And that's what you want to see. This is where everyone's a little screwed up right now. No alt season. Bitcoin hasn't gone into expansion mode on higher term timeframes, and we're all goofed up. But that's all part of a maturing set of asset classes, right? And this asset class being crypto, Bitcoin being an asset class in and of itself that's being viewed in traditional markets very differently. So give it time. You'll either know by Q2 if we buck the trend or not. And until then, the door remains open, at least until we see some sort of a breakdown in Bitcoin on the monthly, right? And right now, this is just another higher high on the monthly until proven otherwise. But it's getting very close to the knife's edge where it could start to prove otherwise and start to confirm some things that people don't want to see confirmed. But I think it'd be a gentle bear, even if it was. It's not going to come and mull your eyes out this time. I think it's going to be a little less volatile. We've got bigger, more mature players in the market now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Landy. You can catch Landy tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The market recap, breaking down the markets. I'm sure he's going to touch on this subject. As always, by the way, I just want to give a shout out to Kelly from God damn it, from Discover Crypto, also Bitlab University. No, it's not university, it's Academy. There you go. Shout out to Wendy O for stopping in, and of course Landy and Kelly breaking down the charts. Okay, well, at least Landy the puppet. He was just, I don't know what the fuck he was fucking
Was
talking
about the charts.
shit.
Well,
Anyway,
thank you, David.
there's nothing gentle about this because a lot of people got new assholes. Look, we got people just DCA some Brett. Okay. The, Uh, honestly, we got a great lineup this week. Hopefully, you guys tune in. Shout out to Gemini, episode 620. I got to go ahead and do the quote of the day. Landy, I appreciate you. Love you, homie.
Thanks, David.
That is Landy, my homie, man. Landy is my homie. Landy cares about me. He does. No diddy. Okay, quote of the day. Quote of the day. Let's look it up. Landy got, Landy gives out some really good advice, man. And it's not from ChatGPT, I promise you. It's not. He gives out good advice. I hope you guys liked the show today. Got a lot of good DMs stating that you guys loved it. My man Vitalik out here looking like, look at my man's over here. Vitalik looking like mad swag. You know what I'm saying? We call him swagalicious. No Diddy, no baby oil. That's this is funny though. My friend was like, I said short sellers are about to get destroyed. So my boy, shout out to Scott, my boy Scotty. He sent me, he replied to my tweet with, sellers are getting exhausted, the sellers. And it's David Goggins. Just fucking the sellers are Goggins, bro. Ah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's look at the quote of the day. I always like I try to be motivational. I don't know. Let's see. All right, let me do this one. All right, quote of the day. Goggins, quote of the day. Here we go. Imagine hating me because the weapon you formed against me backfired on you. That is the quote of the day. Also, I thought this was really cool. I'm going to post this up. But have a listen. Patrick Bet-David, he went ahead and he was talking about something. It resonated. Okay? It resonated. Hold on one second. Hold on. You guys know I'm not just about crypto. I'm more than crypto, man. I'm about life and shit, man. All right, here we go. This is Patrick Bet-David. I'm gonna just play it.
People in life that when you offend, you have to know it's a permanent offense. It's not a 6-month sentence. It's not a 12-month sentence. You offended the guy. That's a permanent life sentence. He's coming for your throat, and he's never gonna slow down.
When I seen that, man, I was like, that is me, man. That is me.
Certain people.
That is me. That is me. All right. Anyway, tomorrow we got a whole lineup this week. I never announce it. It's always the day of that I go ahead and make an announcement of like, this is who's coming onto the show. Shout out to everybody who has participated. A lot of good feedback. You know what? That feels good. A lot of people reaching out to me saying, great shit, great job. You're doing your thing. But for me, honestly, as an entrepreneur and somebody who's a media personality and has a platform, like somebody might see me here, but I'm like, yo, I can do so much better, man. And like, I'm so hard on myself. And I think every entrepreneur out there is, or anybody in this position in terms of media content creation, I think we're never satisfied. We believe we can do better. Like that's my mindset. I'm like, yo, like I didn't do good enough. I replay my tapes now. Like I scout them. I'm like, what? I could have done this better. I could have said this better. I could have touched on this topic. I could have asked this question. But hey, listen, it is what it is, man. After 2 to 3 years of sitting on the sidelines and babysitting, now it's like, now it's showtime. It's getting back onto the court, like getting rid of the 4-5 and getting the 2-3. You get what I'm saying. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to my New York son of a bitches. Anyway, be good to people, man. No matter how people treat you, be good to them, man. Show kindness, man. Or just don't say a word, man. Silence is your best weapon, man. Silence is your best weapon. On that note, shout out to Gemini. Guys, I hope we're gonna send this bitch. Okay? I don't care what Landy says. We're gonna send it. Thank you for tuning in to episode 620 of The Breakdown, sponsored by Gemini. Earn Bitcoin, not points. That's right. Go to Gemini.com/David G and check out the lineup of credit cards, from the Bitcoin credit card to the XRP credit card to the Solana credit card. Get 4% back on your purchases. Terms apply. Issued by WebBank. Gemini.com/G. Also, don't forget to sign up to Gemini. That's right. Trade $1,000 in crypto, get $100 in Bitcoin by using my link. Okay. Terms apply to that as well. I'll see you tomorrow. Episode 621, The Breakdown. Let's fuck.